All right, peace on earth. What's going down? We got a little Jedi Mind Tricks instrumental there. Open up. Let's see. Today is the second or first day, depending on how you want to count it, of nuclear experimentation year 72. So we're on our way to year 73 here. We've lasted 72 years since the last purposeful nuclear detonation on a community. And now there is a lot of talk about nuclear war, nuclear exchange, and I just want to break down what nuclear experimentation is with a couple of definitions here. Fascism, according to, this is the New Collegiate Dictionary, 1956. If you look up the word fascism in new dictionaries, you'll get not only a distorted definition, but a simplified definition. The definitions post-World War II were accurate and decent and explanatory. Since then, it's just like 1984 in that language is shrinking. The definitions of words may be very limited, to say the least. Fascism. A fascist operation. Reactor programs that are really set up not necessarily to produce energy, though that's a quality result of the process. It's really to produce weapons grade material for nuclear detonation, fissile material. So the nuclear era has lasted 72 years, depending on how you want to count it. Hiroshima, Nagasaki was on August 8th, I believe. Nagasaki was on the 8th. And the detonation in New Mexico was in July of 72 years ago. And these three detonations made up of Trinity and Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the beginning of the nuclear era. And soon after that, the nuclear powers as they came to be called, the Cold War adversaries, uh, set up a system called MAD, mutually assured destruction, mutual assured destruction. And essentially, this has nothing to do with that everyone would die. Governments don't look at that war in that manner. This was mutually assured destruction as far as their institutions were concerned. So they saw that their whole institution, government and otherwise, could be a threat if there was a nuclear exchange between the USSR and the United States, and mutually assured destruction policy was set forth. And I'm here to declare that it doesn't take a president to make a doctrine. In fact, this is hype of the highest order, right? Every president has their doctrine. The Bush doctrine was attack first, ask questions later. The Obama doctrine, really, history is yet to prove what it was, but it was continued Orwellian police state, continued warring in the Middle East and Africa, etc., Asia. So the Trump doctrine is yet to be established also, and it seems to be that he's seeking fire and fury between the United States and Korea, which is really a shadow war, covert kind of confrontation between the United States and China, some might say. So my declaration it's called the Indigo Doctrine, and it is MAP instead of MAD, which is truly madness. MAP is peace across the map. So mutually agreed peace is what the world needs, not more military industrial complex setting up the definition and the terms. So the Indigo Doctrine is a declaration of individuals among institutions, and that is mutually agreed peace. I have no respect for someone who's going to fight for a government, whether they're Korean or otherwise, United States or otherwise. You're putting on the uniform of an institutional truth abstract. And so with words, speaking of definitions, we started off with a definition of fascism. What is the definition of Trumpery? It's quite interesting and quite accurate to what some people consider our president. Trumpery. This is from Oxford Dictionaries. Number 1, articles of value or use. I mean, that is Trump. Adjective, showy but worthless. There's another one here I like. This is from the Free Dictionary. 1, showy he's not named after something that's rare and refined. He's deceptive, trickery, fraudulent, nonsense, rubbish. But aren't every politician, and to some extent or another, aren't they all based on deception, very, very possibly. But it's just a funny coincidence between the name. And so the Indigo Doctrine is a way for individuals to make a stand for peace. Looking into the nuclear situation, it's there's no judgment in what and these are the same poisonous elements that leak from nuclear experimentation concerning power generation, right? All nuclear power plants leak, and all the surrounding areas of nuclear power plants have higher incidences of rarer forms of cancer. And it's a shadowy world where nuclear scientists argue that man-made radioactive particles are the same as naturally occurring elements in the same manner. For instance, tritium, which is one of the most common types of radioactive elements, is basically one of the elements that goes through anything, and tritium is constantly leaking from nuclear power plants. And nuclear pukes and nuclear scientists, they say that tritium is naturally occurring, and I guess it is. Supposedly, when sunlight comes into contact with water in the upper atmosphere, there's a reaction that produces tritium, and so they claim that this is part of water, and it may be so, but what levels of tritium are produced by that reaction relative to what is being produced from the nuclear reactions ongoing all around the world, some catastrophic like Fukushima and Chernobyl, in Hanford in the United States, and elsewhere, surely, known and unknown, and some typical, which just goes on at every nuclear power generation experiment all across the world. So, nuclear experimentation is Trumpery. Nuclear war is Trumpery also. So let's try to come together as much as possible in peace, and standing together against, against the military-industrial complex, which is a global phenomenon, right? So peace on earth, and thank you for listening. Check out my books, The Little Green Revolution. I get into a lot of what I just talked about, The Complete Patriot's Guide, and The Matrix of Four will expand your mind. Peace on earth.